Cowboys have only played really well once in the last 2 months against the Eagles.
And now, that may not be an impressive win.
Sure,
based on what the Eagles
based on the Eagles, but at least even in that game, because they played their other 2 wins come against Detroit and the Giants, 2 teams that are worse than Philadelphia. But even those games, they weren't that good. It was a 5-point game against the Giants late. It was a 6-point game against Detroit late. At least against Philly, they dominated them start to finish. So I just don't. I'm surprised by the point spread. The Cowboys are 3-point favorites on the road. I think the Cowboys and Bears are about same quality so far this year, and this game's in Chicago, so I expect Chicago to win.
Yeah, I like Chicago in this game, and the NFL is about what have you done for me lately. The Chicago Bears have won their last 2 games, and as you mentioned, Jenna, the Dallas Cowboys have lost 3 of their last 4. There's something going on in Dallas. They have a bunch of talent. They're just not playing very well, but Mitchell Trubisky is the key to this football game. Can the Dallas Cowboys get to him? And I don't know that they can. They haven't been able to force turnovers. They've been giving up big chunk plays down the field. And so I think Mr. Trubisky actually, who had a very good game last week, great decision-making, very accurate, I think that he gets after this Dallas secondary, and that's why the Chicago Bears win this game.
Wow. B-Dub, you put a lot of confidence in Mitch Trubisky.
I know.
3 weeks ago, he got benched against the Rams out in L.A. on a Sunday night football game.
I have no confidence in the Dallas defense. That's the biggest thing.
Well, you cannot have any confidence in the Dallas Cowboys defense, but if the Cowboys remember who they are, which is a run-first offense, then I think you don't have to worry about that defense as much because they're not on the field as long. Time of possession becomes a critical factor. But that leads me to the biggest key for this game for the Cowboys, which is to get out to a fast start. They spend too much time trailing in games. 3 out of the last 4 times, they spend more time than their opponent trailing in those games. That's not who the Dallas Cowboys are. This team wasn't built for Dak Prescott to drop back and throw the ball 40 times a game. It was built to hand the ball to Ezekiel Elliott 20, 25 times a game and allow your offense to have opportunity for explosive plays and play action. So I think they have to feed Zeke early and often. But another key to this game is getting Amari Cooper going. I mean, Amari Cooper on the road this year, 32 targets, 17 catches, 213 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In comparison to Amari Cooper at home, 60 targets, 47 catches, 758 yards,
fewer yards on the road.
5 touchdowns.
I talked about this earlier. Where has Amari Cooper been, especially on the road? But if they are going to do that and get out to a big game, early lead, he has to get involved.
Well, yeah, but it's a risky way to go. If you're saying, because I do think that one thing, there's only one area where Trubisky's been better than Dak this year. He actually has done a better job taking care of the football. Now, Mitch misses guys. He almost blinded the water boy a few weeks ago with a pass to the sideline. Like, Mitch is erratic, but he's got 8 turnovers this season. Dak's got 12. Mitch 7 interceptions to 11 picks, and so they each have lost 1 fumble in the year. If you do say we're going to get Amari Cooper involved, we're going to focus on that, you're susceptible not only to the strip sack, but you're susceptible to a ball getting batted or a Dak throwing interception, something he's done more this year than he did his other greatest year he's had was his rookie season. What he did brilliantly that year was take care of the football. He's not done that well this year.
No, I hear you when you're talking about the concern about the pass protection and the strip sacks, but, I mean, don't let what happened on Thanksgiving fool you about how this offensive line plays. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have given up, what, high teens in terms of sacks allowed?
Dak's only been sacked 16 times.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys offensive line has done a decent job of keeping them clean. I think Dak has to be more effective in terms of distributing the ball down the field, particularly outside the numbers, to Amari Cooper. But I think you'll have more opportunities to do that effectively if you get Zeke going. I think that's a critical factor in terms of how this Dallas Cowboys offense is going to look and them getting off to a fast start. And I hear you on your point about Mitch Trubisky playing better of late, but how much stock are you going to put in 3 wins, 2 against the Detroit Lions and 1 against the New York Giants? I mean, both of those defenses are among the worst in the National Football League. So, I mean, when you're playing against a better defense, and the Dallas Cowboys defense is a top 10 defense, I would wonder how Mitch Trubisky is going to perform. I would probably side with the Dallas defense over number 10.
Well, I don't know that the Dallas Cowboys defense has played like a top 10 defense as of late. How much stock do you want to put in the game against the Buffalo Bills at home that they got beat up and couldn't get off the field, giving up big chunk plays down the field? Here's a key stat for the Chicago Bears. They're 4-1 when they rush for at least 75 yards. Can they get to 75 yards against this Dallas defense? I think they can. I think that's one of the big reasons that they win. They get Tariq Cohen involved. They get David Montgomery involved. I think that can help them win this football game.
No, you're right. But just to push back on the Buffalo Bills beating the Cowboys at home, turnovers in that game.
Yeah.
10 points off of turnovers in that game. We talked about it. The Cowboys, 4 turnovers in the last 3 games. They got to cut that out if they're going to try to win football games because, again, they're not built to play from behind. This team is built to play with the lead.
This Chicago defense could do the same thing. Can do the exact
Well, they can do the same thing, but this Chicago defense can get got in the run game. They're a top 10 run defense by the numbers, but since week 5, since Hakeem Hicks has been out, their defensive tackle, Pro Bowl player, they've given up 115 yards per game on the ground. They've given up 3 straight 100-yard rushing performances from the opposing offense. So that's what I'm saying. If the Dallas Cowboys want to win this game, run Zeke. Yeah. That's the key.
They don't do that anymore.
We're running out of games where we got to say run Zeke.
Shout out to Chris Canny for reminding the audience the importance of that missing D tackle.
Hey, man.
Unheralded. You're always unheralded.
Hakeem Hicks is a player, man.
Hey, Hakeem Hicks, when we're talking Packers, hey, man, Kenny Clark, you got to play better, bro. Like this.
Before we go to break, we want to go viral. Brian,
even though he's obviously struggling this season on the field, he tried to get a contract extension before this year, was rebuffed by the team. All he got was a slight raise and this is key, a clause in his contract where they can't franchise tag him. Meaning, if either party this offseason wants this to be the last year, they have full control of that. The Patriots could just say, we're not offering you a deal, and Tom Brady could say, I'm a true free agent for the first time in my entire football life. I want to go somewhere else. And so when I read the column, and I remembered the quotes from, not I remembered, but I was presented with the quotes from Robert Kraft in 2013 about how they want to do their salary cap in relation to their quarterback. And that's when Brady was still at his peak. And when the column reminded us that when Brady didn't get the contract extension this summer, he said to the media, I don't know, do I deserve one? You guys should ask Robert Kraft. Keep in mind, when the Patriots refused to give Brady the extension he wanted this summer, the previous 3 years, they had won the Super Bowl in the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history against the Falcons. He had won league MVP the following year and then thrown for 500 yards in a Super Bowl loss to Philadelphia. And then they won another Super Bowl the year before, and they still said, not giving you an extension. And now you see this year, his frustration with his weapons, his frustration with the offense from before the year even began, if you read the quotes in the article, in the Tom Curran piece. Tom Curran, by the way, who's plugged into the team and wrote a book with Brady's best friend, Julian Edelman, and presents this as this is what is going to happen, barring a seismic shift, not what could happen. And it's not presented as Brady retiring, but as Brady going to play somewhere else. If I'm right that this season is not going to end for the 4th straight year with the Patriots at the very least in the Super Bowl, that it's going to end with a playoff loss before they get to the Super Bowl, if that happens, I do believe that at least on Tom Brady's end, he's going to say, you know what? Grass might be greener over in Los Angeles, where I own a home, where they have all these weapons, where if I'm going to try to be able to convince my wife that I'm going to keep playing and it's not going to be for the Patriots, the city that we already have we're set up in is LA with the Chargers. I do think that if the Patriots fail to make the Super Bowl, Tom Brady's done in New England, not necessarily because the Patriots are going to say, get the hell out of here, because Brady might say, I'm going to try this somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't think this is last year in New England for a lot of different reasons. The biggest reason is because they don't have a viable backup at this point. But we've also seen Tom Brady this year not be able to be the same guy that he was in the past without that security blanket, that